So it's my pleasure to introduce Venerable Bhikkhu Subhuti in brief. So Venerable Bhikkhu Subhuti is an American Buddhist monk connected to the forest tradition of Sri Lanka and Myanmar. Venerable was ordained in 2001 under the guidance of the most venerable Pa Asia Doji, who is highly respected. Venerable moved to Na Uyana Monastery in 2007 for meditation practice. And Venerable spent 2 years in US in 2015 and 2018 without permanent assistant or monastery. And Venerable Subhuti earned a one-year diploma in Buddhism from ITBMU, International Theravada Buddhist Missionary University. Until January 2025, Venerable Subhuti stayed in IIT, International Institute of Theravada, in Sri Lanka for studying. So nowadays, Venerable is staying in Spring Hill Monastery nearby Kandy. And Venerable also joining the MA in Buddhist study program in the University of California for other studying. So you can get more information of Venerable Bhante Subhuti from americanmonks.org. So, Venerable, if you are ready for your presentation, floor is yours.
I would like to begin by telling you about how I got started in programming as a monk. And when I was a layperson, I was a computer programmer. I did a thing called Visual C++. I worked for a few companies as a layperson, and then I gave up my life as a programmer and became a monk. And it wasn't until I was in 2015 that I got my first laptop. So I ordained originally in 2001, and I didn't have a laptop until 2015. And actually, it was my very first laptop, like in my life. Even as a computer programmer, I never had a laptop. I had just a big desktop. So I want to show you one of the programs here. There was a thing called TPP, and when I was in Pa'ak Memu, I came across a program called TPP, Tipitaka Pali Projector. And what this was, they called it the projector because Sayadaw Kumara Biwamsa was giving Dhamma talks, and he was more comfortable reading Myanmar script. And there was a split screen where the Pali and the Roman Pali would be on one side, and the English would be on another side. I don't have a picture of that, but this was the first thing that I saw, and I got involved with one of the programmers, and I said, hey, it would be better if we had, the dictionary on the left-hand side instead of on the bottom, and can you do it? And then, the next day he says, I finished, and he sends me a copy, and it worked, and it was really good. And this worked in a browser. This worked in Firefox browser. You could change some of the security settings, and you could run this as a program, as what they call JavaScript HTML. It's like a web page, except we're reading stuff. You change the security so that we could read the hard drive in that directory. And I got more and more involved, and I started to learn how to program this language called JavaScript, something I never really knew. And but it was similar to the language I used to know. And I started making some changes, and I also got involved with someone from Bulgaria. We were working on a thing called the Digital Pali Reader. We were joined in on a few meetings, and we had, both of us had a different philosophy. and we sort of joined forces, and he started working for me as a volunteer, of course, as in the Tipitaka Pali reader projector. So we started making more and more changes to it, making it more feature rich, because I had this programmer. There's a monk who's a programmer, is from Taiwan, and he was really good. He was really quick, and so basically I asked for something and it comes like the next day or two. And we had a philosophy that we wanted it to work offline. We wanted it to work without the internet because the internet was in Myanmar is not very good, and sometimes it just completely shuts down. And we wanted to load full books. And so a lot of the Poly tools, they don't load full books, and they're dependent online, and a lot of them are sort of, they look like they're web pages. And of course ours was that like that too. And this is what it looked like here. I just have the screenshots. This is now no longer supported, but we made a lot of features to this, and we added some dictionaries to this, and we added a lot of uh, different things that we could do with this Poly reader, and how we just click on a word and it will show up. And so this was the first thing, and we started running into more and more problems with Firefox and security, and then we changed it to an app that was, it's like a browser framework. And instead of relying on Firefox, what we could do is we could sort of bundle it. It's called Electron, and we could make an app and just ship it under our own name. So you don't have to download Firefox. You don't have to change settings, and especially security settings, which freak people out. So we had more problems, but it was a blessing in disguise, because once we had our own app, I took it to another level. We put it in the Android store, we put it in the Microsoft store, we put it in the Ubuntu store, we put it in the we put it on iPads, and we put it on the Macs. So we had 5 operating systems, and so this was really good because we had an app rather than a web page that ran in Firefox. And because we were loading all the books, we had a long startup time, and one of the problems that we wanted to solve was to get that startup time shorter and shorter and shorter. And we started dividing the books up into more and more pieces. And basically, what we were setting ourselves up to doing was doing what databases do. And so we needed to do a full rewrite of this program. It was passed down through many programmers and many different styles of programming, and it needed a rewrite, and we needed a new framework. And I decided to do Flutter, which is a framework from Google, and the majority of the Android apps are actually written in this now, in the Play Store, in the Google Play Store. And it's a wonderful, beautiful, multi-platform way of programming. It's a framework, and the language is called Dart. And I picked it while it was still in beta for a lot of the desktop stuff. It was mostly for mobile, like tablets, iOS, and Android, mostly that. And I had faith that it was going to become mainstream. And during COVID, I had to go to the eye doctor. And I was on quarantine. We had strict quarantines. We had pauloxidogy at our monastery, and so every time I went to the doctor, I went to the doctor twice. I had 3 weeks quarantine, and so I learned this language called Flutter during that time while I was in quarantine, and so I made a program which I'll show you later, called Buddhist Sun. And Buddhist Sun was like a trial to see if Flutter was really viable, this framework, this programming framework for the Tipitaka Pali reader. And so So I'll show you a Tipitaka Pali reader. So this is Tipitaka Pali reader, and it's made in Flutter. And I think a few of you might be familiar with this program. And this is one of the this is the main thing that we also have a dictionary for too. And so the topic of this talk is we're going to talk about how we did this dictionary called it's a translation of the Myanmar Abhidhan dictionary, which is being written as we speak. It's still work in progress by the monks in Kabaya Pagoda. And it's a dictionary with, I don't know, maybe 25 or more volumes. Some volumes are actually part 1, part 2. So there might be about 30 books, 30 volumes of this dictionary. And when I was working on TPP, someone suggested that we run this through Google Translate. And I'll get into that later. I'd like to talk about the Tipitaka Pali Reader first. So the end product was we have this software here, and because I'm still learning Pali, it's one of my goals actually of leaving the International Institute of Theravada is to learn Pali, and so I'm very used to clicking on words and having the words show up. And so what I did was we decided that we wanted to have a database and we wanted to have Flutter as the framework. And there was already a Myanmar programmer, a Myanmar monk named Venerable Pandaza. So if you're a Myanmar person, a Myanmar monk or Sayalay, and you do study work, you would be very familiar with Venerable Pandaza. And he already wrote a basic framework for a Pali reader. It was called Tipitaka Pali, and it was written in. I looked at the source code. It was written in Flutter, and it was written using a database called SQLite. So instead of just having like text files for the books, each page was like a record in a database. And what we could do with that is we could utilize the database's full text search capabilities, which are built into databases. And so this was a very good. But the problem was the interface was only one language, and the data was in the Myanmar script. Now, the Myanmar script, the Pali can be represented in many different scripts, and TPP, the projector, could represent a bunch of scripts, and so I approached Venerable Pandaza and I said, look, I'm the project manager for the projector program. I said, do you know about that? He said, yes. I said, well, what we want to do is we want to do a full rewrite, but I looked at your code. The code is really good, and it's professional, and you have Flutter, and you have a database, you have SQLite, and this is exactly what we want to do. I was like, I want to change some things, and I want to make a new project, and I also want you to help us out too. And he said only one thing. He only requested one thing. He says, please keep page numbers. If you keep page numbers, then he'll help us. And so I've kept that promise. And supposedly, this app, and also Venerable Pandaza's app, it displays the pages more accurately to the books. So the Goenka CD, the Goenka also has one. He's one of the main original people who digitized the Chata Sangayana edition of the Tipitaka. And And his page numbers, I guess, don't match the page numbers of the Myanmar books from the Chattasanggayana. In the Chattasanggayana, this is the Sixth Buddhist Council, the text from the Buddhist text from the Sixth Buddhist Council. They were all done in the Myanmar script, as far as I know. So, so that's an advantage. So I contacted him. I said, "Can you join the team? I have a vision," and he joined. And we're really grateful for him. He's done a majority of the code, a majority of the baseline stuff. I learned how to program myself in this language, and the Bulgarian helped. And that was pretty much the team that we have. We have three people, 2 monks and 1 layperson. And now we have about 5,000 active users on Android alone. We also we have this in the Microsoft Store. So if you have Microsoft Windows, you can go to the App Store and you can download it. And if you have Android, you can go to the Google Play Store. You can download it. We have about 1,000 users in the Microsoft Desktop Store, and we also have I'm not really sure. I guess about 1,000 users in Apple, and so we have about 7,000 users. We also ship in Linux, and Linux shows like 3,000 downloads. I'm not really sure how many active users that is, so we don't really have data on that. But we ship with 5 operating systems, and one of our specialties is the dictionary. And so we can click on any word, and this is the mula text. This is the root text, and there's a dictionary called the Digital Pali Dictionary, and we have nearly fully integrated the Digital Pali Dictionary. This is by Venerable Bodhi Rasa. He's a South African monk, and we've been really poor in dictionaries for a long time in the English language, and I can't remember exactly who was first, but we started 2 different projects at the same time. Now his dictionary is excellent. I mean, there's no comparison with his dictionary and the dictionary that I have. So you see, there's 2 dictionaries. I clicked on a word. So any basic word, you're gonna see both dictionaries come up. So this is the Buddha, and you see Digital Pali Dictionary, and you can click on it, and it give you all the grammatical details. And on top of that, we can inflect it. We can click on the inflect button, and we can get all the different declensions. And we can also click on the root family, and we can get all of the words related to the root. And we can click on the samasa family. The first time I just loaded it up, the first time it's a little slow. Like now they'll come up fairly quickly. Yeah. So we can click on the compound family, and it'll give you a list of that. So this is basically how Digital Pali Dictionary works offline or online with the Golden Dictionary application. Golden Dic is called. And we also have we've implemented frequency tables. So this is one of our things that we've recently added. So this will tell you how common the word Buddha is. So obviously it's going to be very common. So, but when you go to the the commentaries, okay, and you select a book. Okay, so this is the second book of the Digha Nikaya, and I'm going to just jump somewhere in the middle. So the words get a little longer. So you can see like this word is longer. Now, Digital Pali Dictionary doesn't pick it up, but the Pali English Ultimate Dictionary does. And one of the big needs that we've needed in the English community, the English speaking community, is a dictionary that can handles some of the very big words that are made up of, in this case, it looks like three components. So the digital Pali dictionary, the best that we could do was, this was originally invented by Venerable Yuttadhammo, who did the digital Pali reader. So there's a lot of digital, and we have the Tipitaka Pali reader, he has the digital Pali reader, and then we have the digital Pali dictionary. So they're very similar sounding words. This dictionary is the Abhidhan dictionary that I was talking about before, which is at least 25 volumes big, probably about 30 books long. And one of the ideas that we wanted to do was to translate the Abhidhan dictionary so that we would have the compounds, we would have the large words that we would have the large words that that the other dictionaries didn't have. And instead of, let me stop my share because I'm speaking. Okay, so instead of let me remove the spotlight here. So instead of having words that are just broken up, for instance, let's suppose we take the word understand. Okay, it's a very common word in English, but in the if we were to break it up like we do with Pali words, before we had this Pali English Ultimate Dictionary, the Abhidhan Dictionary, we would take the word and we try to break it up into parts. And so we have the word understand, and logically, if we don't have intelligence, okay, we would break that up into two words, under and stand. So what happens is we can't, now it's ambiguous, we can't understand what understand means, because if we break it up into words, if we break it up into parts, we have under and stand. Does it mean to stand underneath something? Is that how you get wisdom? Is that how you understand things? No, unless you're a car mechanic and you're fixing a muffler or something like that. You put the car up on the lift and you look underneath and you can see what's wrong with it. But really, there's no relationship to the actual meaning of the word. We're breaking it up into parts, and 70% of the time that works. Okay, but other times it doesn't work. You know, like phone case. Okay, so we have phone case. You know, we can understand that it's a case for a phone. We have a water bottle. You know, we can understand that if it were one word or something like that. There's two words, but you can understand that these words are that these words do actually mean what they mean in parts. And so what we do is we break words in parts, but sometimes that's not good. And a lot of the commentarial words, they are sometimes maybe unnecessarily long. And a lot of the Westerners have sort of pushed back against this. And they're like, you know, the Buddhist teachings, the Mula teachings, these are like the suttas only and without the explanations. They're like, you know, it's a different language almost, because they use a lot of samasas, they use a lot of compounds, and so it's it turns people off a lot. And so I think that's where a lot of the anti-commentary, anti-Abhidhamma sentiment came from. And so I'm going to share the screen again. So you can see my screen again. So like I said, we have this word, this long word. I don't have to move very far to find long words. I'm in the commentaries, and if I jump to the Tika, I'm going to hit this T button, okay, and I'm going to say paragraph 47 because they're all connected. then the words get even longer. So let's see, like dasa kusala kama pata vachanaya. So that's not in anything. But so when they get really long, we're not going to pick them up. But here we can see PEU algo used. So PEU was for the the original name of the dictionary was going to be called the Pali English Ultimate. And so there was a dictionary called PM1, Pali Myanmar Dictionary 1. And I think it's in the dictionary settings here. It's one of these Myanmar dictionaries. Let me just move this down. So one of these Myanmar dictionaries, I can't really read it, but originally they were called PM1. And we there was this one monk. He told us that he says, you know, you should run this dictionary through Google Translate. And I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, maybe we could do that. And so I got together with the Bulgarian layperson, and I said, can we do this? And I created a Google Cloud account, and you can use Google Translate for free. You can cut and paste words, and you can translate whatever you want for free. But when we started with 150,000 words, and let me turn off the share again. So we started with 150,000 words. And if you were to put 150,000 words into Google Translate, you get very tired clicking, cutting and pasting, cutting and pasting, cutting and pasting. And so what we did was we did it programmatically. And the Bulgarian layperson, he helped us do that. And we were able to do that with very limited costs because Google gives you $300 for free. And so what we did was we fed it programmatically. I think it took maybe 10 hours, 12 hours or something like that. And Google Translate was about 60% accurate, 60 or 70% accurate, and about 65% accurate. And when it was not accurate, you could really tell. Like it would give up. It would just say, I'm sorry, I love you. It would actually say this in the definition. It's not that I don't love you, but I don't love you. It would say that. Google Translate would say that. It would get confused with some of the terminology that we fed it. We didn't clean it up so well when we fed it. And but 60% of 150,000 words. 60% of 150,000 words is, I don't know, 80,000 words. So the best dictionary we had at that time was 20,000 words. So I went and did that. And we added it to the projector, and then later we added it to the Tipitaka Pali reader. And so that's what we have here today. We have this Pali English. We have the Pali English Ultimate Dictionary. I'm going to rename it later to the Abhidhan Dictionary, give it the proper name. And because that's where the credit is due. We were going to name this application, the application that I have here, it's called the Tipitaka Pali Reader. Originally, it was going to be called the Tipitaka Ultimate Pali Reader. And we're going to have the Ultimate Pali Dictionary and the Ultimate Pali Reader, and it was all going to be branded. And so this is like an old name. And so you can click on things, and you'll get words, and sometimes you won't get anything. So sometimes you just get a breakup, and sometimes you'll get the PEU algo used. And what that does is it slowly divides things. It chops off the end of the word until it finds a match. And so you'll see that as I click on words, it can find it. And this was actually my idea. this algorithm. It's actually very simple, and it works quite well actually. But all we're doing is slowly removing the words, the letters from the edge of the word. And so we have this dictionary project that we have, and let me see if I can find it. So we have the PM12E. So before we started with Pali Myanmar 1 dictionary, PM1. And so we named the project PM1 to E, means to English. The PM1 dictionary we're translating to English. So we came up with a project called the PM12E, and you can see that we started with 150,000 words, and now we have 204,000 words. And before we were 65% accurate with Google Translate, and now we've human reviewed the Google Translate, and we're up to almost 94%. So the dictionary is now, we could say, reliable. And if you click on a word, okay, you'll see that there's a confidence level, and this one says 7. And what that means is that the confidence level from the translator is maybe 70%. Now, regular lay people, when they help translate, I don't let them say a score better than 7, even if they're 100% sure. Like, let's suppose it's the word for dog or something like that. We can have a regular lay person who's fluent in English translate that word to dog, okay, whatever the word is in Myanmar. So, but no matter how sure they are, we limit them to 7%, to a confidence level of 7. We also have Pali scholars, and Pali scholars can translate the words, and they can go, 8, 9, 10. Usually their confidence level is very high. They have a Dhammacarya degree, and their confidence level is very high. And so what we did was we created an online system to capture everyone's translation. So this way, if we had someone do 100 words and they gave up, or 104 words and they gave up, we would capture all 104 words. Before, when I first started doing this, I gave batches. I thought I was very ambitious. I had like these, 1,000 or 2,000 word batches, I think even 5,000 word batches, and I gave them out, and nobody ever finished it. We lost all the work that they did. So through experience, I knew that we had to have an online translation system that would, as people would translate, as people would translate, we could capture the words. We have 2 levels. We have 3 levels, but we have really 2 levels of people. We have regular, basic translators, and then we have experts. And I don't know if I can get in. Let's see if I can get in. So yeah, it's not giving me anything. I wish I could give you the interface of what it looks like. So I'm more of an administrator than a programmer. So so this is some stuff that I see as an administrator of the program. And what I can do is again, I'm okay. So this is one of my interfaces that I can look at, and I can see the different programmers the different translators and what they're up to, and I can see when they did a word, and how they translated it, and if they sent it to the expert or not. And so what they do is while they're translating, they decide whether the word is too difficult for them. If there's too many Pali terms, too many what we call Puwarana words, these are ancient words, and it's a little above their head, then what they can do is they can make their own decision that they elevate it, and it goes to an expert in the Pali language. And so we have basically 2 or 3 experts in the Pali language. We have Venerable Wajira Buddhi, who's from ITBMU. He's just finished his master's degree. He has a Dhammacharya degree, and he's very intelligent. And he's done, I think, over 20,000 words, maybe more than that. And then we have Nguyen, and she's just a layperson, but she's learning Pali now. She does an excellent job. Sometimes she was doing 200 words a day, and she's done, I think, over 120,000. We have a new Sayalay named Chala Terry, and I think she's Sayalay Chala Terry. She's I think Chinese or Myanmar or something. She's very fluent in Myanmar and very fluent in Pali, and she's a translator. I think she just finished her PhD at ITBMU, and she's already done like 7,000. So she's really doing a lot of work as well. So it's very wonderful, the work that they're doing. And so sometimes I have to review some of the words, make sure the English is proper, that they're not using sometimes they're using words that don't match real spoken English. They learn from a dictionary or something like that. So I have to monitor a lot of words, and I've been a little lazy, a little slow to monitor some of the words. I'm very sorry about that. But right now you can see that we have nearly 94%. So I'm very happy about that. And we put nearly the latest and greatest dictionary online, and we also have extensions there. So so this is the PEU dictionary down below, and we also have the digital Pali dictionary. If you have a digital Pali dictionary, this is also very good. The Abhidhan dictionary is based on the commentaries, which is very nice. So we need that in the English-speaking world, and because we've lost a lot of the Westerners have lost a lot of faith in the commentarial explanations of the Buddhist teachings. I think a lot of it was because it was just frustrating. They couldn't understand anything. So now we have some of the tools that can bring people's faith up, and so when they can read the Pali and they can click on a word, they can get a word, that means, like understand, like I said before, they can get the full meaning of something, and instead of breaking it up into parts and then thinking that they can't understand it. So that's very important, because there's a little bit of a revolution going on in the English-speaking world where they don't talk nicely about the commentaries and the Abhidhamma, and the commentaries are based on the Abhidhamma as well. So when they explain the suttas, people get very suspicious about that, and they start to ask questions without understanding everything. So we have the dictionary project here, and this is going very well. We just have a few good people, and they've been doing an excellent job, and I'm very happy about this. And the digital Pali dictionary, the Venerable Bodhi Rasa, he uses our dictionary to make his dictionary. So a lot of times he's got to look at the commentary. So if you look at if you look here, you're going to see he has a section with a commentary explanation of what the word means. And a lot of times he's looking at the dictionary. He knows the PEU dictionary probably better than myself or anyone else, because he's looking at the words to get the meanings of the words so that he can write it properly in his dictionary. So the best thing, are we competing? Absolutely not. If he replaces the PEU dictionary, this is wonderful, because he puts so much information into his definitions. So you can see here that there's just so many, there's so much information. So if he replaces PEU, that would be very wonderful, very, very wonderful. But what he's doing is we're both helping each other. And our translator, Nui does the most. She's a lot of times she's looking at the digital Pali dictionary to look at what the meanings are as well. So we're both helping each other. It's mutual support, and it's very wonderful. So this is I guess I'm talking a little longer than expected. I wanted to show you the app actually. So we can change the dictionaries. We can add Myanmar dictionaries. We can change the order. So if I click here, I can change the order. I can add these Myanmar dictionaries, and then if I click on a common word, you're going to see the Myanmar dictionaries come up. And if I go back into the settings, I can go to the dictionary. I can either change the order, or I can even just shut them off. And so when I click on a word again, they don't show up. And so if I want the PEU dictionary to show up first, again I can long press here, change the order. Doesn't matter. Let's just put it back. And then I click on Bhagavat, and then the PEU comes up first. It's very dictionary based. I like to have the left hand panel. I like to have the left hand panel so that when you're reading and you click on a word, you don't get distracted with usually a lot of the dictionaries pop up from the bottom. And we do that in the phone app. And I wonder if I can get the phone working. I think I lost my screen here. Hold on. I think hold on. Okay. So I have my phone here, and you can see my phone, right? Yeah. And so we have the same app here. And if we click on a word, it'll pop up on the bottom, because we don't have so much real estate to do things. So we have it like this, and but you can actually, I wonder if this will work. Yeah. So you can flip it on its side, and this is like tablet. Well, we have tablet mode, and so this will work like that. But primarily, you're going to use your phone in portrait mode. And so you click on words, it pops up, and that's how it works. So it's the same thing as this. You can see, yeah. So that's because oops, sorry about that. Let me just let me move this down here. So that's because it's the same code. We have the same code, and we can just program once. We change a few different things about like how it's displayed, but the inner workings is all the same code. It's just a few different things that are different for the phone mode, the phone view, and the desktop view. And so that's very nice. The app that I experimented with is called Buddhist Sun. This is my first Flutter app. And what I did was when I was learning during COVID, I made a world time clock. And I thought about how difficult it is to find the solar noon when I want it and when I need it the most. I can find it on the internet. I can find it in Luna SoulCal. There's different apps for that. But I wanted an app that was really focused on the noon, because when you're late, you're traveling, you're late, you don't have a lot of time to eat, you want to know like how much time you have left. And so I first thought about this, and I thought it was related to the tutorial that I did. It was like 35 lessons, and we made a world time app. I was like, I was thinking that this would be good. And this actually has a countdown timer. It tells you how much time you have left. And so if you follow Wikala Bojana rules, it's very important. And there's been a few times where I've had just 10 minutes to eat, 15 minutes to eat, 20 minutes to eat, and you don't want to fumble through your phone and try to find anything. And so you set the GPS, And this is where I am right now. And you can, this is where my kuti is maybe, and it's accurate to the minute. And so that's really good. We added solar the moon. We added the Uposita moons, and we have the Sinhala calendar. And recently we just added the Thai calendar as well. So we have the Sinhala, Myanmar, and the Thai calendar. And this screen here actually was done with ChatGPT. This artificial intelligence. It's really getting popular. I've been using the pro version of, not the pro version, the plus version of ChatGPT for about a year and a half, maybe a year and a half, and I've done thousands and thousands of dollars worth of code, and I just have it write the code for me. And I took a Moon package. We have a lot of packages that we use. That's what's great about Flutter and modern programming languages, is that they have people will make modules, and then we can just plug them in. This Moon module was a little broken, and I had ChatGPT fix it, and I had it put the UI here, and so we did some things with that. And then we also have the noon time, and you can set this in the settings. Doesn't seem to want to go here. So you can. One of the first things I did was set the languages so that the language would be it would be multi-language. And so that was the first step with Venerable Pandasa, was to make it multi-language. We didn't want him to just change the data and the interface into English and then forget about Myanmar. We wanted it to enhance, to be able to do Myanmar or any other language. And Flutter has that. And so one of my homework things to do was to research how to do multi-language and implement that into my app. And then once I had that working, we would get the Tipitaka Pali reader to also work in that. And so if you look at the settings of how to change the language, you'll see that the language is the same. You'll see that the themes, setting of the themes is the same as this is how you set the themes. It looks the same because it's the same code. So I practice with Buddhist Sun, and then I move the code into the Tipitaka Pali reader. And so we have different settings for dawn, and we have a safety. We can increase it so that it tells you that it's noon quicker so that you don't go over. We have the Uposita country, so we can change this to Myanmar because people are interested in Myanmar with this group. And so now if we go back to the moon, we'll see that it has a Myanmar calendar. So this is available on the Android and the iOS only. And is there a problem? Everything's okay?
No. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is my phone, and we got that shown, and we have more settings in this Tipitaka Pali reader. We have cloud settings, so you can share things with your telephone if you want. You can share your bookmarks with your telephone, and I'm not going to set that up now. I should have set it up before. Then we also have extensions where you can install Pali in English. This is already installed. You can go and install the latest dictionaries. And and you can also install the latest dictionaries. So DPD was released February, and so if I install this, so now what it's going to do is it's going to download the latest digital Pali dictionary, DPD, And so we have extensions, and so that it can install everything. So it's running a little slow because the video might uh, run a little slow as well. So I'm gonna undo that. But you can update the dictionary, and you can get different modules. And so like if you install the English, you'll see these in the Anya section. And so we have line by line. This is Ajahn Sujato's translation. It's a very simple translation. It's one of the least reliable translations. But because we have the Pali, because it's a Pali reader, we have the Pali. So you can use the Pali to really verify the translation. It's to help you read the Pali, not to help you, just read a sutta in English. And so his stuff is copyright free. It's what they call CC0. It's a public domain. So it's very wonderful. I wish Bhikkhu Bodhi did that. It's really slowed things down with this copyright stuff. So you can search for things. So we have like instant searching. So if I search for metta, okay, and we have a special way of typing so that if you type like letter A twice, it'll give you the long A. If you type .t, it'll give you like the special T with the diacritical mark underneath. So if I search for metta, you can see how fast it works. So it searched and found over 1,000 different things, and you can click on it, and then you can find it. Normally, I use the distance, which you can do a few different words, and it will find it. So if I search for metta and cheto, oops, sorry. I search for metta and cheto, so it'll give you suggestions, okay? Vimutti, okay? And I can either hit the plus key and it'll autofill it, or I can just hit the word and it'll automatically initiate a search. And of course, it's gonna find all the matches where they're within a certain space, and you can control the spacing through here. There are a lot of features. There are bookmarks. There's a dictionary. You can just use it as a dictionary. You can type up, Subhuti, and you can find a dictionary item. You can just use it as a dictionary. You can expand the screen and just use the dictionary as you want. And you can search. We have bookmarks. So this is a bookmark, and you can have notes. And we have folders. You can organize folders. You can back up these things. And we also have the history. And so we also have even flashcards, and we can do practice now. And so you can look at Subhuti, and then you can flip it over, and you can test your knowledge. It gives you like the context of where it was found, where you clicked. It keeps track of every word that you clicked on, and then you can test what you want to do. You can test your knowledge about how well you can remember the words. And so we have the commentaries and the Tika and the Anya, and we have all these books. And so that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. We have the Classical Theravada website. So the Classical Theravada website, they're now, before there were like two Buddhist discussion forums where you could discuss Buddhism. You can ask questions, you can get answers, and people discuss things that just interest them. People have questions, people have research, and you can do that. And there was one group, it was called dhammawheel.com. They're still in existence, and they're quite big. And they have different groups. They have Classical Theravada group. They have a general Buddhism group, etc. And then there's another one called Sutta Central. You're probably more familiar with Sutta Central, and they have a discourse.suttacentral.net. .net. And Discourse is the software that they're using. So if we went to Discourse, that's suttacentral.net, Discourse is the open software that they use, and you'll see that classical Theravada is very similar to that, because they run the same software. It's a modern interface. Dhamma Wheel Dhamma Wheel is a discussion group, and it's a more older interface, and it'll load in a few seconds. And so you can see that there's different topics that people can join in, and they can ask questions. Usually general Theravada is the big one, and classical Theravada is the one that I'm usually into. And classical Theravada means like orthodox Theravada. It means that we follow the commentaries. We follow suttas. It's a myth that people who like the suttas in the Abhidhamma don't read the suttas, but we take the interpretations according to the commentaries in the Abhidhamma. And so in this group, classical Theravada, I don't go here anymore, because when I would say things based on the commentaries or the Abhidhamma, people would start to jump on me, because the Westerners complain a lot and they're very vocal. And so I decided to leave this group, and the same is with Discourse at suttacentral.net. You're not allowed to say things that you can't say, like this is wrong, the commentaries explain it this way. If you do that, they mark you as a sectarian, and they'll give you a warning, and then they'll kick you out. And so even though this is a very big website, it's a very big website, you can see they have like thousands of people who viewed some of their threads. It wasn't for me, obviously, because I follow the Orthodox interpretations. And so if I were to post here, people would sort of say, like, they have the same arguments over and over again, like how many baskets were chanted recited in the first Buddhist council and stuff like that, and they think that it's only two, and so I got a little fed up with that, and what happened was I contacted the group leader. His name is Robert. We'll just call it Robert K. Robert, and that's what he goes by. And he had a website called Classical Theravada, but it was like a subdomain. It wasn't really his. And I did research on this Discourse software, and you can get this is called the Digital Ocean. You can make a cloud-based server, and you can install this software there. And I have some friends I have a friend who's an expert in Ubuntu, and this runs on Ubuntu on the cloud, and we made this website. And I had the funding. We did it for $5 a month, and I got together $60 from one of my donors, and I contacted Robert, and I said, hey, let's do it. Let's make a website, and we'll expand it out. And he was paying $20 a month. And I said, let's close this down and really get our own domain, classicaltheravada.org. And he was very excited about this. And so we went ahead and did it. And we thought within 2 years we would get 20 users, and we would just be happy. We'd just be peaceful. We could talk among ourselves. And if we got 20 users, this would be very good within 1 or 2 years. We didn't have many expectations, and that's why we're so happy. So we have 247 users now, from maybe 2 or 3 years ago when we first started this. So this is a very successful website, and we had to expand our server costs up to $10 a month. And someone wanted to pay, actually donated, but Robert wants all the merit for himself. And $120 a year, I don't want to belittle it, but it's not so much. It's almost insignificant. And so we're able to run this server, this classical Theravada server, very cheaply. And we're able to make the rules that instead of, instead of trying to, instead of trying to, in some of the other websites, they, like Sutta Central, if you're sectarian, or you say like the Theravada commentaries say this, or the Abhidhamma says this, and there's no such thing as Amitabha Buddha or something like that. They'll give you warnings, and they'll kick you out. And but in our website, we make the rules, and we're like, no, you can't say like we're the opposite. You can't say that Amitabha Buddha is real or something like that, and we'll give you warnings, and we can kick you out. And so we're very biased. We're very biased towards classical Theravada. We only want classical Theravadans to join. We want Orthodox people who are looking for a safe zone to join. And that's what we did. We made that website. And the last thing that I wanted to show was just my own website, which is americanmonk.org. And this is a blog that I had started. Originally, it was called Subhuti.withmetta.net. And when I was in Hawaii, I told people about my blog, and if they don't know the Pali words, it just goes over their head. So I later changed my blog to americanmonk.org. And so I get about 1,400 Google clicks per month on this website. And so if you were to, Google like where to ordain, you'll find American Monk comes up first in Google. So it's very well known, and GPT knows about it, and GPT knows about classical Theravada as a serious Theravada website as well. So it's very important that we have another I don't know, information source, so that people can, so that even with today's AI, it can get more reliable information. Because EBT is early Buddhist text. It's where they reject it's not only where they reject the commentaries in the Abhidhamma, but they also go ahead, and I don't know why they do this, but they're always looking for the original teachings. And what they do is they go to the Chinese teachings, and they're like, hey, the Chinese teachings are missing, like this sentence in this sutta, and the Theravada, the Pali teachings have this. And then they try to make an argument that the Theravada monks are just blatant liars and trying to change the Buddhist teachings, which is crazy. It's missing these phrases, it's missing sentences, because it was translated from Pali to Sanskrit to Chinese and then back to English or something like that. And they're heretical. They're actually, some of the groups, the Chinese texts actually come from some of the sects which are written in the Katawatu as heretical sects as well. So anyways, that's the end of my presentation. I spoke a little longer. I always do that. And yeah, so if anyone has any questions, they can ask questions. So Bhante, you can change the spotlight or something like that, or I can control it. So if someone has a question.
If anyone in the participants, if you have questions, please raise your hand and ask.
Well, there's a lot of people here today.
Almost the dear, Venerable.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. So I told everything that needs to be told.
Okay.
Before there was a lot of questions
Great.
with my propagation in America, because I'm just running around and doing all this this odd stuff that's very very strange, but it's quite straightforward, and I've been I think I explained everything quite well. I'm very happy with how things are going. To have to be able to affect so many people, and our dictionary, our reading app is considered the best for those who know about it, and for those who speak English. There might be other readers which they might have a different feature or something, but we look the best. It runs the smoothest, and it has a lot of the basic features, and a lot of people just use it as their daily driver. For instance, the teachers at the International Institute of Theravada, including Venerable Magga Vihari, use this as their main daily driver. It works with Sinhala script, it works with other scripts, and so we have many different users, and we ship it to Mac. We ship that to the Apple Mac, and so the teachers use it on their MacBooks and whatever. So it's very how do we say, fulfilling that I'm able to contribute to the academic community, especially the Westerner academic community, and also to help promote the ability to read the commentaries, to read the Tika, and because a lot of people are angry and afraid about things that they don't understand themselves. Like if we look at racism, have you ever met someone of such and such religion or such and such race? You find out that they're just human. You just have to talk to them. And in the same way, I don't know if we can say that about the commentaries, but you read the commentaries and you read it yourself, and then you'll understand that a lot of it explains it very very nicely. So the PTS books, they started about 15 or 20% of the time, Bhikkhu Bodhi and even the PTS books, they point out things where they think the commentaries are wrong. For instance, in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, it says that it was so crowded that you could fit 60 devas on the head of a needle, and Miss Rice Davis is like, this is nonsense. This is total nonsense. And and so she'll make a lot of she'll make or I think it was Mr. Rice Davids actually, that they'll make comments that they just don't understand things, and then people read these comments and they're like, yeah, the commentaries are wrong, and because their first exposure is someone telling you that they're wrong. And Bhikkhu Bodhi does this himself. Bhikkhu Bodhi, especially in his other translations, the Samyutta Nikaya and the Anguttara Nikaya, he's doing scholarly work and trying to pick out mistakes and trying to make his opinion known. And I have an article on my blog. It's called I think Only in the West, Only in the East. And we have one of these. We have these spray guns, to clean yourself. It's in every Asian toilet that's modern. A modern Asian toilet will have a spray gun to a bidet. And when I first came to Asia, I saw these spray guns in the toilet, but in the West, every kitchen sink where you wash the dishes uses this same spray gun. And it's very odd because they're so opposite. You know, this is where you wash the dishes. You have a spray gun to wash the dishes. It's like a bidet, you know. It's the same thing. And then the other one, you know, you're cleaning poop off yourself and you're cleaning your bottom. And you know, it's almost like, you know, if you took a clean toilet brush to wash a very big pan, which might be very useful. If you have a very, you know, big monastery pan, you could actually take a toilet brush that's clean, you know, and it would be very useful because it's a very big pot, you know, a pot that, you know, holds food for 300, 400 people, like Mahavihara or something like that. But, you know, psychologically, you just can never do that. And so people can't understand, like, you know, even myself, when I first saw this in the toilet, I thought that was strange. And if you took an Asian person and you took someone from Myanmar and you brought them to an American kitchen sink where they do the dishes and you show them this bidet thing, they'll think that's gross. They'll think that's gross because they're literally worlds apart. They're halfway around the world. And then what more can we say about 2,600 years ago as well? So people don't understand the Asian culture, and people don't understand the time difference, and people may just plain old lack faith. You know, they look at talking animals in the Jataka, and they say talking animals. You know, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But you know, if your dog was, you know, if you have a dog and he's barking or something like that, okay, and someone's at the door and he's barking, you know, later you tell the story, you know, there's a robber and the dog was barking, and you went up and you saw that, you know, the dog told you that there was a robber, there was a thief in the house. And when you retell that story, you don't just say the dog was barking, you say, you know, the dog told me that there was a thief in the house.
Okay.
You know, so when we retell the story, we see the dog told me that in the house, and people read the Jatakas and they're like, and they're saying, you know, the same thing. And so so that's how I like to see the Jatakas. But a lot of people, especially the Westerners, they just lack faith, and they just we call this throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Normally when you wash a baby, you have like a little bowl or something like that. You have a bowl and you wash the baby and they say usually you throw the water out, you know, but this is a meme called throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're throwing everything out. And so I'm glad to make the dictionary. I'm glad to make the tools to help bring up the faith of the Westerner, the English-speaking community. So I'm very happy about this. I know I'm making lots of merit, and it's really wonderful. And we don't ask for donations.
Please keep the time for question. No,
yes.
Yeah. Somebody, you can ask.
Oh, someone has a question. Should I put them on spotlight?
Yeah.
How do I put?
Yes, promote speaker.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I like hands here. Yes. Let me remove Bhante, remove spotlight, and can I add to?
Yes.
I don't know how to put her on spotlight.
you lost lah. No problem.
Oh, I'm not the.
Yes.
Can you put your video on? You asked the question. Maybe if you put your video on, maybe I can edu forum. If you put your video on, maybe I can add you to the screen.
I will keep myself a little bit of hiding.
Okay.
You will hear
ask
me
your
well.
question.
Yeah. But I mean, I like to continue from your fulfilling and happy things. I think it's really good. You could bring your expertise from lay life to the present monastic life and contributing a lot. And that's really huge, you and your teamwork.
pretty comprehensive when you gave us the orientation. There are quite a number of, Myanmar is majority Buddhist countries. There are quite a number of academic Buddhist scholars as well. So now that what I learned, your website and app pretty new, they might not know, not really familiar with it. So if you have any kind of tutorial or short training courses, that would be much more useful for the users over here. I can imagine your apps can be very much user-friendly, but there again, when they have your real site, and that will be more useful for them.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel. If you search for Tipitaka Pali Reader, we have a YouTube channel. Is one of my things that I want to do now that I'm not at this busy monastery is make a lot of short videos. How to search. Just have like a few minutes, and this is how you search, and then this is how you make a bookmark, et cetera, et cetera. But we do have a video, a YouTube channel specifically for this, and you can I think you can if I share the screen again, and I go to the settings and I go to help about, it says, you can see my screen now. It says YouTube channel, and so if you click on this, let's see if it works. So it'll bring you to the YouTube channel. And so we have all the videos here. We'll talk about extensions. We'll talk about different things here. And also, if you go to the help screen, it'll bring up the American Monk website, and it'll give you different things, how to control the dictionary, etc. So for Myanmar people, we would need Myanmar people to make Myanmar videos.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for the day. Thank you for more.
You can do. You can do, Venerable.
You can send us some links,
and
well. That would be really good. Yeah. Thank you.
There is
Bless
another
you.
participant. Paku, is raising his hand.
Yeah, yes. Okay. First of all, I wanted to say thank you very much, Venerable Subhuti, for your contribution and great effort. So I have two questions. The first one is very useful when we search the meaning of the Pali word. We rely on the Tipitaka Pali Abhidhan. Now we have a translation, your translation, Pali English Ultimate. But you talked a lot of the website that I missed. If we went to make quotations or reference from to your Pali English Ultimate, which link we have to make a quotation?
Yeah, if you it's where would you have that link as a reference? What you could do is I think it's called dump. This is how I get the.
Can you show?
If I go to PM12E and I type DUMP, I think, yeah. So this will dump the latest and greatest version of the Tipitaka Pali Reader. I'm sorry, the Pali English Ultimate, and I guess you could use that as a reference, but it's not stored on GitHub, and maybe we should put it on GitHub as a final result. We have a GitHub for the programming for it, but we don't have actually the storage for it yet, because it was always considered work in progress. So we just sort of released it as it is rather than having it as a scholarly work. But that's very flattering that you want to quote the source. We're going to change the name to Abhidhan soon, the English Abhidhan. I haven't picked a name yet, but we'll be changing that to Abhidhan soon. Soon we'll be changing that.
Sometimes we have to also make a quotation, the translation. That's why I'm asked.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. If we put it on GitHub, you can lock it to a version. So like our code for the Tipitaka Pali reader is locked to a certain version. So that's a very good suggestion. I'll make an issue about that, and we'll try to settle that so that what we do is when we're updating things, when we get a solid version number, when we get a certain how do we say point in the development, and we decide to do a release, we can put a label on that, and then GitHub, as long as GitHub is alive, it will still be there. It'll still be there, and you can look up a label that's 2 years old or 3 years old or something like that, and it keeps track of the changes. The problem is that it's very big. It's very big, and I'm not sure that GitHub likes very big files, so we'd have to break it up. But it's possible. We can break it up, and then we can put it on GitHub. We just need to do that maybe programmatically. I think we can do that within a month or two. It's actually just an hour's worth of work, but nobody has time to do anything. So we can maybe do it in a couple months. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Actually, we can find the meanings, even though we don't have correct exact reference.
Yeah.
For the quotation.
Yeah, I think there's a Simsa. I forget the name of the program. I think they might be using our dictionary as well. So anyone can get it. We don't have we don't copyright it. We don't collect royalties or anything.
Okay, thank you so much.
So other Pali readers can use it. Yeah. So.
My next question is, I just downloaded your application, Buddhist Sun.
Yes.
I saw today's note time is 12:18. 12:18, but I know I think in Myanmar's note time is 12. So from which source you mentioned the note time is 12:18 today, or?
Yes. So you have to set the so I'll share my screen again.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me share. Okay. So if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
And
yes.
In the menu, okay, you see that it says verify noon.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to click on verify noon, and then what this will do is it'll open up timeanddate.com based on the GPS. Okay, and then you'll see the calendar, and on the very right hand side you'll see all the solar noons. So here you can see that it's 12:21. Actually, it's if we go to, what is today? I don't even know today. What is today? Today's 21st. Okay, so if you go to the 21st, actually it's highlighted, and then you slide over, you'll see that it's 12:21, and that's why it's important to have Buddhist Sun. Because sometimes it's before 12, and a lot of times it's after 12. And so it's very important to do that. But if you don't believe, my own calculation, you can go to timeanddate.com. Now, there's a safety on. There's a. How do I go back? So remember that there's a safety. You see the safety here? It's set to 1 minute. So it'll be 1 minute earlier. So
Yeah.
if you actually look here, if you go to the home screen, it says 12:20 because there's a 1 minute safety.
Oh yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
timeanddate.com is like the god of keeping time in solar and moons and stuff like that. So a really good website. And so I got information on how to open up a screen with the GPS settings. And so if you just make sure you go to the GPS and you set it right. So and then it'll work. And if you don't trust it, that's why we have that screen verify noon. And what's really important is you see this rate this app if you like it. We like good
Yes,
ratings, we like good reviews, help
I have
spread the
never
word.
thought
I'd
about.
like to see a lot of people. I think, you know, this actually doesn't have a lot of users. It has about 1,000 active users, and on Android alone. And it really should overtake Tipitaka Pali Reader, because Tipitaka Pali Reader is only for people who know Pali. But Buddhist Sun is good for anyone who follows 8 precepts. It's good for any kapya. It's good for every monk. It's good for lay people who take 8 precepts.
Thank you very much. I never know about this. I only know the 12 is the non times exactly is in Myanmar. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm very happy to share. It makes me very happy. Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking my questions.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we give away all this stuff for free, and it's very nice not to have any, like, you know, donate here, or, you know, because I don't touch money. And actually we have someone, his name is Sun too, and he actually sponsored I think up to $9,000. I don't think we've used that much, but we've experimented with paying people, and that didn't work out very well. And we also have another lady named Do YY, and she also she helps us buy gifts for monks who keep them happy. And so we still do that. We buy airplane tickets and stuff like that to one of our translating monks. And we've also paid for an operation for one of the translators. Her sister had a problem with her kidney, and so we forwarded some money. We also bought a new computer. She was complaining, you know, she did 120,000 words on a volunteer basis, and so, you know, she's complaining, you know, the computer's broken. So we're like, we'll give you a new computer. Okay, we'll get you a new computer. And then you know, she was complaining about the electricity going out, and she was doing like 200 words per day. It's like amazing. And so we got her a battery backup, you know, so she can charge her computer and charge her phone and stuff like that. So we've been running on very little, not very much money, and people have offered to pay, but we don't really, we're self-sufficient, and a lot of the costs are free or one-time costs. So it's really wonderful to give it away.
Yeah, very wonderful. But it's very impressive to get such a kind of accuracy, although you have many difficulties. Yeah, I mean,
And
Yeah, accuracy.
yeah, your accuracy means you have word's accuracy. It's about 93.91% of the word accuracy. It's
That's human. Yeah, that's human reviewed. That doesn't mean that we still have mistakes, but it means that it's human reviewed.
Yeah.
So that's it's quite. We're quite happy about. We're quite happy about that. Yeah, before it was a joke. Actually, people laughed at us, but I knew, I had faith that it would work, and my biggest critic was Venerable Bodhisattva, you know, the digital Pali dictionary. the digital Pali dictionary monk, and because he's using our dictionary a lot, and you know, he always he picks out all these like more or less the words that are not human reviewed yet, and when Google just gives up, like it can't even figure out any clue at what it means. It really gives up, and it just gives Star Wars quotes and all these weird, you know, quotes, and starts talking about Jesus and stuff like that. And so he would always, every so often, he would send me a quote from my dictionary, you know, that hasn't been human reviewed. But yeah, we're very happy. 94%. It's and it's based on the commentaries. You know, it's based on the scholars from Kabai Pagoda who are working on this, and it's very wonderful that they're doing that. And so it's slightly different dictionary than Venerable Bodhi Rasa, and so you can get like a, you know, a difference of opinion and stuff like that. So it's good.
And how many members stay at it in your PM2E dictionary?
How many what?
How many?
We have yeah, I can show you here. If you go to PM12E, which is over here, you can see all the words. So we have a total of 204,448 words, and translated is 191, almost 192,000, we could say. We're just 13 more from 192,000.
How many translators do
Oh,
it?
how many translators? Yeah, I can show you. So on the admin screen, we can look at I can just look at the lines here. So we have a lot of users who are still in the system that are not not active, okay? And so these are actually users, okay? On the right-hand column here.
Oh.
Okay. So these are all the different users, but I'd probably say that you know, we can go to users. I forget what this screen will show us. So I'm using a lot of bandwidth for the Zoom call, so it's a little slow. Yeah, so these are the users here, and I think we can look at the entry count. I guess I can't sort. Yeah, I guess I can't sort by entry count, but I know who's doing a lot. You know, so Chala Terry, this is by the most recent. So she's done 7,000, like I said. We have Vijita Nanda Biwamsa. He's an Abhiwamsa from Sri Lanka, and you know, then we have, you know, just. We have some words that were done, you know, and we have Nue Nue. She did 128,000. So she's our big translator. She's learned Pali in the process. And we have Ashin Wajira. So he's done 20,000. And he does all the difficult words. You know, like when people reject the words. When people reject the words, they say it's too hard or something like that, then it'll go to our experts. So mostly we have 3 experts. We have 3 experts. We have Venerable Wajira Buddhi, and we have Venerable Saile Chalateri, and we also have Vijitananda Vimamsa. Unfortunately, he's very sick right now. He's got some sickness, but if I have a problem, if I have a question, I ask him, and he answers. And so
it means anyone can contribute if they are interested. Yeah.
Yes, if you want to contribute. I think we have a lot of Myanmar people in this forum, And we can take regular lay people off the street, and because you don't need a Pali degree in order to translate the word dog or something like that, or street, or window. So these are just common words. You can just read it and you can do it. But it takes a while. It takes like 200 words for you to get into the groove and to build your confidence. And so a lot of people, they start and then they get frustrated and then they drop out. But if you want to, please contact me. I'm on Facebook. I'm everywhere. It's very easy to get in contact with me, and send me a message. And we could definitely use some translators. So when we first started translating the words, what we did was we took the very long words, the words that had long definitions. We pulled those out, and what that did was the base words actually have like 5-10 different meanings. Like Buddha or Dhamma. Dhamma is going to be huge, right? So, but that's actually a word that's translated in other dictionaries as well. And so what we did was we pulled out the words that had heavy definitions, like lengthy definitions, usually because they have multiple meanings. And a lot of these are based on these are the base words that are in all the dictionaries. And so we've pretty much finished a lot of the specialized words, but now we have a lot of base words that have long definitions, and so it's very tiring for people to do. So if you can contribute, it's very well appreciated. We'd really love your help, and so I'll get you in contact with Nui Nui is our expert, and she trains people, and we're so wonderful. We're so grateful for her, because she's done almost 130,000 words.
Yeah.
And it's just really wonderful, and she just does it because she's Buddhist and she knows that it's a good way to make merit. She does a lot of merit in many other ways too, and she just recently got promoted too. And so sadhu sadhu has come up with Bhaka for her.
Okay, so I think there is no more questions.
Okay.
So shall we stop? And yeah, thank you for all participants, and as a special thank to Venerable Subhuti for your valuable time and information. Thank you for your sharing, Bhante. So shall we conclude by reciting Buddha Sasana 3 times?
Okay.
Okay.
Buddha
Buddha Sasana.
Buddha
Buddha Sasana. Tiram Vidati.
Sasana.
Buddha Sasana. Thank you for inviting me to share about this.